I'll tell you what.
To the regular board meeting for the month of February of Northwestern Lehigh School District. Please join me in the opening exercise. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Please be seated, and Stacy, would you please call the roll?
Sure. John Cassiano. Willard Delaker.
Here.
Joseph Ratzinger.
Present.
Todd Hernandez.
Here.
Becky Height. Here. Lauren Hunsaker. Todd Leiser. Rachel Scheffler. Here. Jennifer Senovitis. Here.
Thank you. I think we have John on the line.
I'm here.
Okay, he's here now. Okay.
Just got on.
Thank you. Moving on to approval of the agenda. We don't have any changes or adds, but I got a late phone call today from our State Representative Gary Day, who would like to talk to us about the redistricting and how it might affect our district, our school district. And I invited him to the meeting tonight. He has another event that he has to be at until he said he might be here about 7:30. So when he comes, we'll either put him in under new business or courtesy of floor at the end of the meeting to hear what he has to say about redistricting. So other than that, I would entertain a motion to approve the agenda that's in front of us.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Fetzinger,
Second.
second by Mrs. Scheffler. Any comments or questions? Hearing none, all those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carried. Good to see faces too. Good to see smiling faces. Again, welcome to the regular board meeting. Anybody that would like to address the board at this time, please rise and state your name and the township that you live in and address the board. And there will be another opportunity, as always, at the end of the meeting for public comment. Next item on the agenda is approval of the board meeting on January 19th and the workshop on February 22nd.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Fetzinger,
Second.
second by Mrs. Height. Any comments or questions? Hearing none, all those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The minutes are approved. I do have a president's report this evening that I'd like to read. I haven't done one in a few months, but with all the activity that we have here, I'd like to just take a few minutes to reflect on the last 2.5 years and how refreshing it is to be back in the business of education of our children and using our skills and our resources to teach instead of reacting to the political and the social pressures and the government mandates that we've lived through. And these are my own opinions. This is not opinion of the board. From the onset of this pandemic, our administration's leadership calmly and professionally addressed the COVID-19 environment and developed comprehensive and successful plans to deliver our curriculum to our students safely and effectively in this new hybrid and virtual environment. They also wrote a detailed health and safety plan that was used to successfully navigate the ever-changing COVID data and the guidelines and the mandates from numerous government agencies. Then our teaching staff stepped up with extraordinary energy and innovation to turn this new and challenging virtual and hybrid classroom setting into an effective learning environment, making the best of an extremely difficult situation. Arguably, it was the best in the Lehigh Valley and beyond. Our bus drivers and our custodial staff worked tirelessly to clean and disinfect and prepare the buses and classrooms for the next day of instruction, fighting an invisible enemy called COVID, not knowing the health hazards they were exposing themselves to, and they're still doing this. Our health and safety advisory network that was made up of Lehigh County health professionals and our own concerned parents offered invaluable medical advice to our administrators based on their experience and their wisdom in their medical fields. Community support and criticism during the mitigation periods of masks, vaccination clinics, virtual and hybrid instruction, proms or commencements, or athletics and arts performances, all provided a valuable and a realistic connection to our families' concerns. These are concerns that went beyond just COVID. We focus on parents' rights to choose what they think is best for the children, and the freedom and the liberties that we need to be continually defending to preserve our nation going forward. And finally, our students, their tiger pride, their understanding and cooperation with all the inconvenience, the isolation, the disappointments, and social connections that were taken from them by adults and elected officials who felt responsible to protect them. It's been a long haul. I think we all learned a lot about ourselves and our flexibility and our stamina in dealing with unknown and invisible disease. We also learned to respect each other's opinions and that problems are solved by collaboration, not confrontation. We also learned to appreciate the freedoms we have and how fragile but important they are in our daily lives and our pursuit of happiness. So thank you to all who have helped us to navigate through this COVID era. I hope it is fading away, although I think it will never go away completely. We live in an awesome community, and I hope we can move from this with our friends and our neighbors to face the next challenge that we surely will be confronted with. Thank you. So that's my president's report this evening. Mrs. Holman. That's for superintendent's report.
I don't wish to follow that because I pretty much concur with everything Mr. Gallagher said. You know, I hope that we are on the backside of, you know, coming out of all of the challenges, and we do learn a lot about ourselves and our students and our children and our families during times of conflict. And I am really proud of where we are. I mean, our kids are fantastic, our families are fantastic, and they have been challenging times, but I couldn't have said it better myself, so thank you. Well, you said it just perfectly, so I shall not try to change that, but everybody really rose to whatever it was the challenge that we put in front of them to make the best out of a not great situation, so thank you. I just have one update this evening. I did send this to the board earlier in the week. Governor Wolf unveiled his budget proposal earlier in the week, and I did send the board a detailed information. It is far from finalized, obviously, and we won't be incorporating any of those numbers or any of that information until we have information where it actually believes that it will be allocated. I would like to focus on one piece just to bring public awareness. There is a portion in the budget presentation where a couple of years ago, we produced the flyers that we stuffed in all the newspapers when Governor Wolf at the time had a $9,500 cap proposal on cyber schools. And if you recall, we put these out, put them in the Northwestern Press along with all other Lehigh County schools, really advocating for some charter school reform, particularly in that case, it was cyber charter school reform. He does again have a proposed flat cyber tuition rate on the table. So that means any student who would go to a cyber school, the district's cap would be $9,800 per child, and that is for cyber school students. For us, that means about $391,000 if that portion were to pass. Just in comparison, right now, regardless of the medium or mechanism, whether it's cyber or whether it's charter, we are paying at Northwestern $15,161 per regular ed child and $32,413 if they are a special education child. And so you see that's a stark difference between that and $9,800 We do have informational flyers about particularly charter school reform that is particular to cyber reform. But certainly that is something that I think our residents and our people who listen to these meetings regularly need to be aware of as a portion of that proposal. And so I will certainly, after this, answer any questions or provide any of the flyers to anyone who is interested, but I do think that's an important piece of his proposal. I'm not sure the majority of the rest of it is going to be successful, but that is a portion I think we should draw some attention to. So thank you.
Are there any questions for Mrs. Holman? Great, well, hopefully we'll get that tuition break. Next item on the agenda is the personnel action. And Mrs. Matika, will you please take us through that?
Glad to. Thank you, Mr. Delacour. There are 33 items for your review and approval tonight. It's that time of year when our retirements are announced, so it's bittersweet for us, but I will go through the retirements that are on the agenda. Steve Fox, 30 years of service to the district. Matthew Fritz, 35 years of service to the district. Lizzie Gates, 33 years of service. Maureen Roman, 31 years of service. Luann Smaki, 17 years of service. Chris Newberg, 37 years of service. And Tim McGinley of Van Driver, after 8 years of service. For the drum roll of 191 years of service to the Northwestern Lehigh School District. Incredible. And we see these numbers year after year after year. So I would like to recognize those individuals for the years of service to the district. And the other items are our usual business items, but like I said, it is bittersweet.
We will get to recognize those people.
We will with the proclamations in the next few months.
We heard the personnel recommendations and I would entertain a motion.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Passinger, second by Mrs. Sheffler. Any comments or questions? And thank you for calling out those years of service.
Now the word begins to replace them.
Yes, yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carried. Next item is the special education placement or authorization. It's simply a authorization for Mrs. Holman or Mrs. Edmonds to enter into these agreements that we just discussed this at the workshop meeting. And I would entertain a motion for item 3.01. Authorization for Andy Edmonds and or Jennifer Holman to sign the agreement in lieu of FAPE, free and appropriate education for special education students in the digital academy. So motion by Mrs. Sheffler, second by Mrs. Senovitis. Any comments or questions?
No, I believe Mrs. Edmonds is on. If either anyone has any questions, one of us can answer them. I believe we talked about this previously. We would certainly bring them back to you after the fact should we enter into them, but they're not always timely with board meetings for placements of special ed students.
Okay, yeah, we did discuss this in our workshop and then ties in with the agenda item 6.08 later on in the agenda. Okay, should I take a vote?
No.
Okay.
No.
We have a motion and second. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carried. Congratulations. Okay, next item is policy. Dr. Sisnovic, will you take us through the policy?
Most certainly, Mr. Delacour. There are, for your approval or consideration rather, 003 and 004 for first reading. The two for your approval tonight is 000 and 001. Mr. Lizer did ask a question at the last board meeting with regard to a term in 000 of absurd. We did get clarification of that. We sent it in your weekly board memo. Long story short, it's a common use of statutory construction rules. The wording in 000 is borrowed directly from section 1922 of the PA Statute Construction Act. If you wish that word to be removed, we could do so. If not, and it's the board's pleasure, I suggest that we the recommendation out there for you tonight.
I think unless there's any objection, we'll accept it as written. And thank you for the law school
Yeah, right.
answer of the word absurd.
John trying.
So we have no action required on the first reading, but we will take action on the second two items under policy, and that would be 000 and 001. Is there a motion?
So
Motion by Mr. Fatsinger,
Second.
second by Mrs. Cenovitis. And any comments or questions? Hearing none, all those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carried. Thank you, Dr. Cenovi. And we'll move into operations. We did hear the master's facility plan update at the workshop meeting. And Art, is there anything you'd like to add to that?
The only thing we updated was that incorrect date on the last page.
Okay.
Other than that, everything's the same.
Okay, and this is, this action we're taking is to accept that plan. It's not any action to approve any projects or even go out to any bids for any of the projects. It's just accepting the plan as it was presented during the workshop meeting. And for that, I would entertain a motion.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Fassinger,
Second.
second by Mrs. Sheffield. Are there any comments or questions about the facilities master plan? Yes, Ms.
Something I probably should have asked before at the workshop. Can you elaborate on what your smaller capital projects entails? Do you have what that looks like?
The $100,000
Correct.
item. Actually, in the last 4 years, we have not even used it. What that usually is for something that comes up like an immediate driver repair, a replacement of an air conditioning unit, some kind of duct unit, something wrong with the boilers. We had fire bricks in the boiler 1 year go bad. We had to replace them immediately because we had redundancy of boilers. That's where that money gets used for. It's not necessarily slated at the moment for anything.
Great, thank you.
And just as a reminder for the board, there is a tour scheduled for board members to look at the projects that have been discussed on this master plan. When is that? March second?
Right before the workshop,
6
so
o'clock before the next workshop. Okay. If anybody would like to take a look in person at these projects.
I don't.
Yes.
I believe you have a motion and second.
Motion and second.
Okay, I'm losing track of my motions and seconds. Sorry about that. So we do have a motion and second. All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, no? Motion carried. Thank you. And next on the agenda is district finances. Ryan, we did look at the financial statement, with 125 pages of the auditor and at the workshop. And at this time, I would entertain a motion to accept the financial statement audit. We're accepting it, receiving it, and I would entertain a motion to receive the audit. Motion by Mrs. Scheffler,
Second.
second by Mr. Hernandez. Are there any comments or questions or any last minute comments? Ryan?
Further than
Okay, comments, questions? All those in favor, aye?
that?
Opposed, no? Motion carries. Next two items are involving the tax collection committee delegate, which is Ryan, and the permission to, or the approval to use a deputy tax collector for Heidelberg Township, which was discussed at the workshop meeting. And I would like to take those two items as a consent agenda together. So I would entertain a motion for 602, 603.
I make a motion for 602, 603.
Mr. Fatsinger, second
Second.
by Mrs. Height. Any comments or questions? Hearing none, all those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, no? Motion carries. The next three items are the budgets for our educational partners at the Carbon Lehigh Intermediate Unit, L-Tri-C and LCTI. We had the financial directors and the executive directors at our workshop meeting to review the budget with us. The actual budgets have been on our computer available to us for review for the last month. And I would entertain a motion to approve all three institutions, 604, 605, and 606.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Faskin.
Second.
Second by Mr. Hernandez. Comments or questions? Hearing none, all those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. And that motion carried. Next item we haven't reviewed yet. This is to approve the agreement for a musical at the Weissenberg Elementary School. Middle school, I'm sorry, the middle school. Did review it. There was a little blurb about what this play was all about. It looked like a fun play, Matilda the Musical Junior. And that we did not review before, so if there's anything you'd like to say about that.
No, the reason we added it is if you see the pricing is only good for so long, so we figured it was a routine item that you wouldn't have an issue adding it between workshop and or, but certainly we did discuss it. It's a routine licensure for Matilda, the Musical Junior for the middle school. Got any questions? Certainly, I will take them.
Okay, is there a motion to approve the agreement? Motion by Mrs. Sheffield,
Second.
second by Mrs. Cenavides. Comments or questions? Hearing none, all those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carried. Next item is an agreement in lieu of faith or free appropriate public education, which kind of ties into the motion we had before. And this is for the specific student that was reviewed, specific circumstance that was reviewed at the workshop meeting, the executive session. And I would entertain a motion to approve that agreement. Motion by Mrs. Sheffield,
Second.
second by Mr. Hernandez. Any comments or questions? Hearing none, all those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carried. 609 are the reports. Is there anything you'd like to highlight on the reports for us?
I have nothing further to add. I can certainly answer any questions if you have any on the reports of bills.
Yeah, this was vetted at the workshop meeting, and we have to look at the reports, and I'd entertain a motion for a second.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Fatsinger,
Second.
second by Mrs. Height. Comments or questions about the reports? Hearing none, all those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carried. And the last item on the finances are the bills. Motion to approve the bills. So moved. Motion by Mrs. Sheffield,
Second.
second by Mrs. Cenavides. Comments or questions? All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Paid bills. Enrollment report.
I don't have anything to add. I will say, we watch obviously the cyber charter numbers closely. And you will see some movement in some of our students making different choices and coming back to us. So we're pleased about that. But any other questions you have about the enrollment report?
Any questions about the enrollment report that we have in front of us this month? Okay, is Mrs. Stitzel, are you with us for a foundation report?
I am, thank you. I just want to report that at the February meeting, the foundation voted to allocate over $128,000 to our district. This is to be used in a variety of pre-approved EITC projects, and they include things such as the purchase of the replacement of interactive whiteboards, improvements to the high school and middle school broadcasting studios, the addition of equipment for our high school chemistry courses, and also the purchase of middle school Lego Invention Squad technology. And then lastly, I also want to mention that this is their Share the Love of Education campaign. So this month kicks off that campaign for the foundation, and there is still time to purchase raffle tickets to win a Walt Disney World vacation there. And you can purchase tickets through their website. The raffle will close either on February 28th or when all 500 tickets are sold, whichever comes first.
Great. $128,000.
Correct.
And over what period is that?
Well, that actually was they had allocated a few some dollars earlier this year just for the teacher mini grants. But this is actually the largest that they have of the school year. And when it comes to the end of the school year, I will give you an updated total because they still have some other money that they would like to allocate for future teacher mini grants that should be coming due in the spring.
Wow, that's amazing. And please take our thanks and indebtedness to them for all they're doing for our kids here in the district. So thank you for that.
Absolutely, I will.
Any events coming up that we ought to know about?
The next major event that is coming up is their 5K race, which will be at the end of May. So I'll be talking to you a little bit about that in March, but this month is still the Share the Love of Education campaign.
Great, great, thank you. Any questions for Mrs. Sissel? Thank you. Committee reports, we'll start with LCTI.
Last meeting was all budget. Next meeting is next week.
I think you have a mask vote coming up too.
Yes.
Okay, good luck. And I see what we heard from them last time. I don't know if we have a report from them on there. Oh, how about the intermediate unit? This is Sunlights.
We have not met this month, but we will have a meeting in March.
Okay. There's nothing on the agenda under old or new business. Is there anything from the board for that is old business or new business put on the table? Seeing none, we'll move into communications. I'm going to ask Mrs. Eisenhart, is there anything from the secretary? Communications. None. We'll move into courtesy of floor. Once again, we offer courtesy floor to anyone who would like to address the board. Please rise and state your name and the township you live in and address the board. So thank you for coming and being with us this evening. I guess we'll move into administrating. Gary's going to have to hurry if he's going to get it.
Talk to him in the
Talk
parking lot.
fast.
Let's go.
We'll work through our administrating and building sharing. Dr. Snowy, will you please take us through that?
Absolutely. First tonight will be Mrs. Foley.
Good evening. I just want to share on behalf of the elementaries, both Weissenberg and Northwestern, Mrs. Crum and all of the kindergarten teachers that provided an awesome opportunity for kindergarten students with Grandparents' Day. Weissenberg's performance was last week and Northwestern's performance was today. The kids did an amazing job, and kudos to Mrs. Crum and Mrs. White, Mrs. Marquette, Mrs. Pretzel, Mrs. Luca, Mrs. Miller, and Miss Delbarello. Excellent job to all of them.
Mrs. Stitzel?
I have nothing further to add this evening. Thank you.
Mrs. Edmonds?
I don't have anything further. Thank you.
Mrs. Stauffenberg?
Good evening. Nothing from the middle school tonight. Thank you.
Mrs. Burlett?
Good evening. On behalf of Weissenberg and Northwestern Elementary, as Mrs. Pooley shared, we have had some exciting events happening Friday evening, our Northwestern Elementary and Weissenberg Elementary choral students performed at the Phantoms game. It was an absolutely wonderful event, and thank you so much to Mrs. Gassessa and Mr. Fees for their work in pulling all of that together in conjunction with our PI and PTO. So it was a wonderful evening. So thank you to all of them.
With outside of the meeting.
Mrs. Matika.
I have nothing, but we want to slow down the meeting.
We don't have the tiny gates.
With 15 minutes an hour.
Do you have any proclamations?
I have nothing to read. You don't want me to sing on there, so. Nothing. Thank you.
Mr. Kish.
I have nothing tonight.
Nothing further.
Chief.
Privileged to be here.
I will just echo many thanks to the foundation. $128,000. It's amazing. They do amazing work. Thank you for all the support you do for our district, our students. You truly enhance our schools every day. So I just want to say thank you again.
Lastly, I totally concur about the comments about the foundation. There's things that we do, and as all of you know, could not have done without them. I would like to comment on the Grandparents' Day. For those of you who have not had seen it, they are the cutest little things, and the songs that they do, I think their grandparents were elated to hear them, both at Weissenberg and at Northwestern Elementary. So we are glad to have people back in our buildings and our kiddos performing Grandparents' Day programs and the like. And so we look forward to more of those assemblies, programs, and things throughout the spring. I will share because Mr. Shadish and Mr. Zimmerman are not on as well. Our Science Olympiad team did go out to Penn State as well as 2 weeks ago and performed very well in their Science Olympiad competition, and they have several other competitions on the way. And for the high school, Mrs. Shadish is actually at the game, one of the games this evening. That is where she is. And so there'll be lots of activities, I'm sure, for the high school coming as well. So thank you and have a great day.
Thank you. You go first.
Sure. I got nothing. Thanks.
Yeah, I just want to give a shout out. I don't know if Mrs. Kinnan is listening from the foundation, but what is, I just want to piggyback on what Troy said, like, what a significant difference when the foundation decided to hire a development director. I follow them on social posts, and she's really doing a bang up job of trying to communicate to the community on value and just events and getting everybody involved. And I know how hard that job is, especially in this financial climate. So I hope she's listening and the foundation's listening, that it was a really smart investment, and we're just happy to have them here.
Thank you. Mrs. Senators.
I have nothing.
Nothing more. Mrs. Height.
I was at the Phantoms game where both the 5th grade choirs performed, and I love that PI and PTO work together on that, and the music teachers work together on that, and those 5th graders get to come together for that. So it's a really great event.
That's nice. Mr. Cassiano, are you with us?
Yes, I have nothing this evening.
Okay.
Good job tonight. Don't get used to this.
Take it when you got it.
Take it when we got it.
I have nothing.
Well, I have nothing more myself, but this was a surprise too, hearing about the $128,000 from our foundation here. As we always say, we're blessed to have that group of people helping us through and providing the things that we could not do for ourselves within the budget that we have. And it's welcome, I know, by the teachers who apply for the grants and who receive the funds to do the things, the little extra things that they need to enhance their instruction with their kids, and it's much appreciated. Thank you.
Mr. Dellinger, I
Yes.
forgot one more thing
Oh,
that I
yeah.
think is important. Sorry, totally forgot about this. I know that you all probably saw this, but we were anticipating Mr. Hunsicker retiring from Mutual Bank.
Yeah.
And I did see that announcement this week, and so I'm sure all of you who know him, give him a shout out. I think he's remains a super important part of the school community and just our overall Northwestern community, and just is a friend to many of us and has been a wonderful community partner. So as we welcome Mr. Hayes to take the realm over at the bank, if you see Dave out and about in the community, well-deserved retirement coming up for him.
I do think the board still would like to invite, now I didn't do that because I didn't want to put him up with the budgets, but
Yeah.
you still, I assume, might have the opportunity, should they be able to come, tell him that in person, but I did, but yes, Mr.
I just didn't want to forget
Yeah.
that. Sorry to interrupt you.
No, that's fine. I think it would be appropriate to ask him to come to our meeting, just to recognize him for all he's done for the community and the school. And he was there as president CEO.
Would you prefer a workshop or a board meeting, or it's dependent on his schedule?
Under recognition, part of the board meeting, regular board meeting. He's willing to do that. Yeah, he's certainly contributed to the bank a lot, to our foundation, and also to this Veterans Memorial that we're building in the community too. The bank has really helped with that, and that brings up the thought I had about naming the eagle. The committee putting the memorial in at Oglala Park has this 4-foot wingspan bronze eagle that's going to be a sentinel on the site, and we asked the third, fourth, fifth grade students are having a contest to name the eagle, which will be put into the brochure and be part of the history of that memorial. And it should be exciting. So Gary's not here yet, but I think just out of courtesy, we ought to just wait around for him. I told him because of the new Act 93 or the new Act 65 regarding sunshine law, we are not allowed to take action on anything that hasn't been on the agenda for 24 hours. So the phone call this morning, I told him, we can hear what you have to say about redistricting, but there's no action that we can take at this meeting this evening. So he's on his way in here, and we'll hear what he has to say about redistricting. It has to do with the state representative districts. Is that Gary? No. And hear what he has to say. So with that, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Fatsinger,
Second.
second by Mr. Hernandez. Meeting adjourned. You have going home tonight, and we'll just stick around.